Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. In today's video, I'd like us to all just take a pause from the economy, the war, the food supplies, the changing of a planet, all the stuff that's going on that we're talking about, and the potential for great disaster from really each one of those things. And we talk about them on here, and you hear about them on other channels. But let's just take a pause from that and ask ourselves, well, why is this all happening? Now, without going into the biblical reasons, because that's kind of almost another subject, I want to talk about in today's video the people that are behind all this and why this might be happening. And it might be a little different than what a lot of people think. It may not necessarily be about global domination, about controlling the markets and controlling the money and controlling the food and controlling land and governments and policies and all of this sort of thing. It may just be simply a means to control the people. For the last 2 years or so, we have all watched, and we've talked about it several times, this growing kind of mental illness, it seems, in this country. I mean, it's been happening a little longer than 2 years, but it's become very profound in the last 2 years, where people, well, they seem to be developing a type of psychosis about maybe it's this, maybe it's this, maybe it's their gender identity, whatever it is. It just seems like people have lost their minds about something, and they've just completely gone mad to the point that all reasoning, all logical thinking just seems to have been gone from their minds. And it's interesting because one of the things that they've all said repeatedly is we have to trust the science. And yet in all these different areas and more, their actions, their behaviors aren't scientific at all. The push to teach children things that shouldn't be taught to them, there's no scientific basis on how that will be good for them in the long run. Nothing's been tested. It's all brand new ideas. There's no scientific evidence to back any of it, but we're going to do it because it makes us feel good. We've seen that happen with, mask wearing and other things like that. And now it seems to be happening when it regards to this whole war. The whole world, the whole world, and especially the United States, seems to have just developed this feeding frenzy psychosis when it comes to destroying another nation, and that's Russia. And also uplifting and deifying Ukraine and its leadership. Now, I'm not on here to tell you who's the good guy and who's the bad guy and all that, because as we all know, at least we should know, they're both really the bad guys. Not just Ukraine and Russia, but all sides. I don't think that there's any real good guy in this, other than maybe the truly innocent people that just are being the ones that's catching the brunt of all this on both sides, the individual citizens. But as far as the people that are backing either side, I don't think either of them are the good guys. But what we're seeing develop out of this is really just, it's like the exact same playbook that we've seen for the last 2 years for the big health crisis. Except now, instead of Fauci, it's Zelensky. Instead of the cough bug, it's Putin in Russia. The things that's being done against Russia and Putin are in much the same way the stuff that was being done of locking things down, of restricting movement, restricting freedom, of forcing people to do this, of kicking them off of planes and out of buildings and out of schools and all kinds of stuff. Just absolute insanity. And so as I sit back and I watch all this, and we see all the things on the surface that are going on. We see how it's affecting the economy. We see how it's affecting the food supply, and how the stuff going on that went on in Canada, the stuff that's going on here in the United States, it's all interconnected. We know that. But is there something greater going on behind the scenes? That's a greater goal of the people that are in charge, the elites, the Klaus Schwabs of the world. And I think that there is, and this is something I've talked about before, and I think when you look at all their agendas and their great reset plans and all that kind of stuff, there's something bigger to all of it. It's not just about reforming how we live as people on this planet. It's not just reforming government and the economies of the world and food supplies and how we make food and the environment and all that. It's really more so reforming us as individuals, really on a biological and a level. I believe that in the end, what we're seeing is just more manipulation of our minds and our bodies, because I think, and I'm pretty sure I'm correct on this, that these elites, it's not the money that they care about. It's not the land or the resources that they care about. It's not even your private property that they care about. I mean, they really pretty much own all that anyways. It's you. It's your mind, and that's what they want to control. They want to control us. When you look at the stuff that's going on, has gone on, this psychosis that's gone on for the last couple of years, it's almost like it was a kind of an MK Ultra type of a training exercise to see just how much they could manipulate the human mind. And I think that they proved that they could manipulate it quite well, and did quite a few people got control of their minds through that. And I think that what we're seeing now is just a continuation of that. I've seen people that the kind of mind control techniques through the health crisis didn't work on them. The people that didn't get this, the people that didn't put this on, but they're now standing up and they're changing their little avatar, whatever icons online to blue and gold. They're posting how their support and their prayers for one side or the other. They're speaking out firmly against how we've got to round up everything that's Russian and shut them down and destroy them as a nation. So it's almost like this this game that they're playing. They're trying to manipulate more minds. I mean, it's pretty simple, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think when you start to really grasp it and really look at it, that this is bigger than war. It's bigger than food. It's bigger than money and gold and finances. I mean, those are all tools that they're using to control us. But in the end, it's us that they want to control. That's really what they want to do. I've held the belief for a very long time that these elites, the ones that really control everything or want to control everything, they have very much a godlike mentality. In fact, they believe, I think this, and I've seen it in their writings and other things that they've done, that they want to prove to themselves that they are equal to the Creator. And they want to create, they want to create a new evolution of a human being. And it's all in their writings. I mean, if you read the stuff that Klaus Schwab has written and other people that are part of the World Economic Forum and other these global entities, you'll see that that's what they talk about. They're talking about the next evolution of mankind, and that they can control it, and that they can develop it into something better than what we are. And I believe that they're doing this so that they can stand up and say, see, we can create life too. We can create and build something new too, which is completely untrue. You and I know that. There is only one creator of life, and everything else is just a counterfeit copy of that creation of life. But it doesn't matter to them. They want to be able to prove that they can do this. And I think that in the end, all the stuff that we're seeing is a complete manipulation of the human mind. You can look on the World Economic Forum, and there's all kinds of articles and videos talking about the evolution of the human body, the evolution of the human mind. They've done research on mind control. They've published articles on it. They've talked about certain, pharmaceuticals that can assist in that. They've talked about implementation of technology into the human mind. Elon Musk is well known for his Neuralink mind control chips that he's developing and wanting to someday put inside of human minds. And this is nothing really new. This is something that they've been developing for a while. But if you really get into reading what they're talking about and what they're saying, they flat out say that, and I've shown videos on here before. If you go back and look at some of my past videos, I've shown proof of it, where they'll have a video where they talk about that in the future, and they're talking about the near future, that we will develop the bringing together of technology and humanity to the point that it will question what it actually means to be human. They've talked about developing this collective consciousness, so that we can rethink how we look at the world and how we look at each other and how we look at all these problems. Well, how will they develop that collective consciousness other than through mind control, manipulation of the human mind and body through technology and through techniques that we're seeing? That's why everyone is standing around saying the country has gone mad. The people have lost their minds. The way people have reacted to the health crisis, they've lost their minds. The way people have reacted to this war, they've lost their minds. The way people have reacted to things like, the transgender agenda and all of that, they've lost their minds. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, and it doesn't, until you look at why it could be happening. And I believe it's happening for this very specific reason of controlling our minds. I mean, it's just that simple. If you dig into what mind control is and how it works, the stuff that's been going on for the last few years, it fits with it perfectly. And so I guess the reason why I'm making this video is not just to let you know this, because a lot of you already do know this. I think it's to give a warning, a caution to you that as things develop with what's the current agenda, the current emergency of Russia and Ukraine, and now possibly China and all these other countries, and as things continue to develop, and then other things that come along the way, another new health crisis or some other new crisis that we're not even aware of right now, try to remember that there's a great possibility that everything that we're seeing happen is being done to try to manipulate our minds, and be cautious and guarded of that, so that you're not going to be falling in a victim to that. It just kind of blows my mind when I sit back and I see how people are reacting to all of these things going on, the things that's happened in the past. I mean, here's an article here I found that basically it's saying that all this stuff that's going on in Russia and around the world, it's going to make us completely forget about the health crisis. And it's a good thing. It's just we're going to forget about it. And the truth is, that's exactly what's happening. People have forgotten about it. This kind of manipulation of the mind has been going on for decades. I mean, I know some of you are sitting back thinking, whoa, Travis has gone off the crazy train today with the conspiracies. But if you really dig into it and you look into what Hollywood does, television, movies, pop culture, music, public education, for the last 6-7 decades, there is an agenda there, and we can see how human beings now have a very short attention span, especially the younger generations have a very short attention span. They can't focus on something very long, and they have to have something new to catch their attention, and it has to be big and flashy and just crazy to keep everyone's attention. And that's what we're seeing happen. We're seeing this just go from one event to the next event to the next event to the next. And I believe that is all part of what's been kind of built into our minds over the last several decades, of this is how events have to happen. And in doing so, they're able to manipulate the mind and draw our attention off of one thing, get our attention on that, get us all in a frenzy and get us afraid and get us willing to do whatever to solve that problem and then very quickly move us into the next, so that we forget all the stuff and we don't even stick with that one thing very long, to really figure out how we were being manipulated, what we were lied to about, because now we're into the next thing. And we're in this frenzy, and it's almost like watching piranhas in the water eating. It's a frenzy, and we're focused on that, and we're fearful, and everything. We're in a panic, and everything's really bad. And before we have time to actually slow down and kind of analyze the situation and figure out if it's really something to worry about, we're on to the next thing, and then there's a big panic and a frenzy of that. I think that's what we're seeing happen. And although these events that are going on are real, there were really people that were getting sick and dying. There are people right now that are dying. There's really money problems. There's really economic problems. They're really taking personal property from random, Russian citizens. There's really people that are calling for sainthood for Zelensky, and there's really been people referring to him as a Messiah, and as people are blindly just following one side or the other without really critically analyzing anything. That all is really happening, folks. But what's really happening, when you pull back, it's that it's more manipulation of the human mind. And I think that is their ultimate overall agenda. In the end, they already own everything. Between the individual wealth of these elites and the fact that they control the banks, which control all the money, which control really most all the assets, because most everything that people have nowadays, they have a loan against their cars and their homes and things like that, even cell phones and appliances people borrow money for. So they already own everything. They control most all the land between private ownership, taxes, government, all that kind of stuff. So it's not about that. It's not about the wealth and the land and the resources. They already control it. What they want to control is you. They want to control your mind. They want to control your body. They want to be able to control and manipulate it and change it and evolve it into something new, so that they can claim that they are a creator also. And that's what we really have to guard ourselves against. In the end, aside from the spiritual aspect, which is very closely intertwined in this, I'm just not speaking of it in this video, that is really the core reason of why I choose to live the way I do, why my family lives the way I do. Because we don't want to be part of that next evolution of the human body and mind. We believe that God created us the way that we are, and we should stay that way. And I know all of this may sound crazy to a lot of you, but trust me, if you dig into it and you look into what I'm talking about, I think you'll find that I'm not too far off from the truth. So in the end, don't allow this to manipulate your mind. Don't allow yourself to fall victim to the feeding frenzy of one side or the other, folks. Because that's really the goal in the end, is to capture your thoughts, to capture control of your mind, and in the end, you. All right, folks. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.